I want you to think about the last time you read the news on your phone. Maybe it was this morning. Maybe it was last night before bed. How did you feel afterward? Did you feel informed? Or did you feel anxious, unsettled, like the world is falling apart and there's nothing you can do about it? If that's familiar, you've experienced something that researchers are now calling one of the most damaging digital behaviors of our time. It's called doomscrolling. And today we're going to break down exactly what it is, why your brain cannot stop doing it, what it's doing to your health, and what actually works to break the cycle. I'm Michael. Welcome back to The Mind and the Machine on Tech for Grown-Ups. Let's start simple. Doomscrolling is the act of compulsively scrolling through negative news or social media content, even when it's making you feel worse. You know, the content is upsetting, you know you should stop, but you keep going anyway. Does this sound familiar? This is not a new human behavior. We've always been drawn to bad news. There's actually an evolutionary reason for that, which I'll get to in a minute. But what is new is the industrial scale at which bad news is now delivered to us. 20 years ago, if you wanted to catch up on the news, you watched the 6 o'clock broadcast, 30 minutes and it ended, and you moved on. Today, the news never ends. It refreshes every few seconds. There's always something new, something worse, something more alarming, and it's in your pocket at all times, day and night. Now, here's something I want you to truly understand. Because once you get this, everything changes. The reason you cannot stop reading bad news is not because you're a pessimist. It's not because you're anxious by nature. It is because your brain is working exactly the way it was designed to. Our brains have what scientists call a negativity bias. This means our brains are wired to pay more attention to threats than to good news. Why? Because most of human history, missing a threat could get you killed. Missing good news, well, that was just unfortunate. So our brains evolved to scan for danger constantly, to pay close attention to anything that might be a threat, to remember bad experiences more vividly than good ones. This was a survival mechanism for hundreds of thousands of years. It worked perfectly. But here's the problem. We now live in a world where the algorithm has figured out that our negativity bias is its most powerful tool. Negative headlines get more clicks. Angry posts get more shares. Frightening stories get more views. So the algorithm, which we talked about last week, deliberately services more negative content because negative content keeps you on the app longer. Your ancient survival brain and the Silicon Valley's business model are working together against you. This is where it gets serious. Doomscrolling is not just a bad mood or a bad habit. Research from the Mayo Clinic and multiple universities has now confirmed what many doctors have been suspecting for years. Chronic doomscrolling, meaning doing this regularly, has real physical consequences. Your sleep suffers. The blue light from screens suppresses melatonin, the hormone that tells your brain it's time to sleep. But beyond the light, the content itself keeps your brain in a state of alert. You cannot wind down when your brain thinks there's danger nearby. And especially for older adults, disrupted sleep has compounding effects on memory, on immune function, on mood, and even on heart health. Your anxiety increases. Every alarming headline triggers a small release of cortisol, the stress hormone. One headline, it's a small spike, but 20 headlines, there's sustained elevation. Chronic cortisol elevation contributes to anxiety, depression, high blood pressure, and inflammation. This is not metaphorical. This is happening in your body while you scroll. Your sense of the world becomes distorted. When you consume a constant stream of the worst things happening everywhere, your brain starts to believe this is an accurate picture of reality. And psychologists call this the mean world syndrome. You begin to see the world as more dangerous, more hostile, and more hopeless than it actually is. And when the world feels hopeless, it becomes very hard to feel motivated, connected, or even joyful. Now, I want to address something that I think is critically important. Everyone doom scrolls, but older adults are significantly more affected by its consequences. Here's why. First, many older adults came to the internet during or after the pandemic. That means the first years of heavy social media and news consumption happened during one of the most legitimately frightening times in recent history. The negativity was real. The habit formed around real threat. Second, passive social media use is far more common in our age group. Most people 55 and older scroll and watch rather than post and engage. And research has confirmed that passive use, just consuming without interacting, is the form most strongly linked to anxiety, loneliness, and poor mental health outcomes. Third, and this one I want you to sit with, many older adults carry a quiet fear that the world is leaving them behind. The technology moves fast, the news is overwhelming, and social media constantly shows a world that seems designed for younger people. When the content reinforces that fear, it doesn't just upset you. It confirms something you were already afraid it was true. And that is a very different kind of harm. I'm not giving you a list of 5 tips and sending you on your way. Because if willpower alone worked, you would have stopped already. What actually breaks the cycle is changing your relationship with your phone, not just your habits. Here's what the research supports. Strategy 1. Create a physical barrier. Charge your phone in another room overnight. This is the single most impactful change most people can make. Not because of what you do at night, but because of what you do in the first 30 minutes of the morning. Most doom scrolling happens in the first moments of the day, before your feet even hit the floor. If the phone is in another room, that window closes. Strategy 2. Replace the loop, don't just break it. Your brain is looking for stimulation when it reaches for negative news. If you simply try to stop, the craving stays. Replace scrolling with something that also provides stimulation and information, but that you control. A short podcast, a daily newsletter like ours, with content that informs you without alarming. A chapter of a book. Give your brain something to do, otherwise it will go right back to what it knows. Strategy 3. Curate your feed aggressively. You have more control over what you see than most people realize. Such as like on Facebook, unfollow pages that regularly post alarming content. On YouTube, click Don't Recommend This Channel on anything that leaves you feeling worse. Every time you do this, you are retraining the algorithm. You're telling it what kind of world you want to live in. Strategy 4. Set a news window. Choose one time per day, 15 minutes, to check the news. Not first thing in the morning, not last thing at night. Mid-afternoon is ideal. Outside of that window, the news does not exist for you. The world would not fall apart because you weren't watching. But your world, your health, your mood, your sleep, will improve significantly because you weren't. Now, I want to leave you with this. The fact that you doom scroll does not mean you are broken. It means you're human. It means your brain is doing exactly what it was built to do, in an environment it was never built for. Understanding that is the beginning of changing it. Now, next week on The Mind and the Machine, we're going to talk about something I consider the most important episode in this entire series. We're going to talk about what happens to people after they've been scammed online. The shame, the silence, the psychological damage that nobody warns you about. If you know someone who has been through this, or you have been through this yourself, that episode is for you. Leave me a comment below. I want to know, have you caught yourself doom scrolling? What time of day does it happen for you? Let's talk about it. You're not alone in this. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe if you haven't already. I'm Michael. This is Tech for Grown-Ups, and this is The Mind and the Machine. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you next week.